All right. Slurpty diddly do, my G's. I hope you're all doing wonderful. I hope that you don't mind this new kind of style of content that I'm trying to go for, which is basically a little bit lower quality with the microphone and the webcam, because I'm doing it all off my laptop here. But what it enables me to do is get out more videos faster and come up with more ideas and bits of information to share. And I think as long as you can hear me fine and the information is coming into your ears, then I don't think you really care too much, do you? Because this way, just using my laptop, I haven't got to edit everything so much, and I can get videos out much faster, you know? Before I was using my phone as a camera with a portable microphone thing, and it always took me ages to edit the video, to get it, piece it all together, sync up the audios, and it's just a bit of a nightmare. And so if you guys are kind of cool with this format here, like slightly lower, maybe slightly lower sound quality from the microphone, and maybe the camera's a bit smaller. But yeah, if you guys are all good with that, I can really smash out the tutorials a lot faster this way. So yeah, I think that's a good way to go. Anyway, long story short, I am almost ready to release a new track, and I don't want to play much of it here because I don't want to give it away yet. But as I was doing some final adjustments in the sort of the stem project, I realised there's a little kind of EQ thing that I often do, and I wanted to share it with you. So it's a bit of a mixdown trick, or a mixdown tip, right? And if you recall back a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, I made a video about mid-range mud and this notion that, oh, you have to cut the mid-range to get rid of the mud, like in a bass, for example, you know. And I made a video really like hammering this point home that is not the case. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do anything, you know. Often the case, you might have a great kick, a great snare, a great bass, and you literally don't need to do anything. They just fit together perfectly. They all sound great. So what I want to get you guys away from is these like made up doctrines in music production that, oh, you need to do this and then you need to do that. You haven't got to do anything apart from use your ears. That's the only rule, okay? So make sure you check that video out if you haven't. But there is one thing that I find myself often doing. Now, not always, disclaimer, so this won't work all the time, but I do find myself doing it quite a lot, and that is to do a mid-range cut to remove the mud, particularly in a bass, but in the sides only. Not with a normal EQ, because that often weakens too much of the power of the sound. But often I can scoop out a little bit of the sides in a low mid-range area, and that will give me extra clarity in my bass and in my mixdown. So without giving too much of this track away, yeah, I've got my basses sort of summed up here. And what I often do is, yeah, I might do multiple EQ instances, but I always do low side cuts like this, right? It kind of depends where, and I might have a few. I might have one at 80 hertz and another one at 70 hertz with a softer slope. But you guys know this, like I've been preaching on this for years. You know, taking out the sides of your low end in your bass is something that's always done, and I always do it. But this is my tip for the video, and this is where things get like a little bit to the next level. When I'm really, really refining the last sort of details in the low end, I find myself often doing also a low mid kind of side cut, but like a bell, and I'll tend to scoop around the bass area, and I'll find a part, and I'll be listening in the whole mix as well here, you know, particularly around the kick, and I'll find an area, often, probably like 50% of the time this will work, or 50 to 60% of the time I'll end up doing this. Sometimes the bass doesn't need this treatment, it's already fine, but it's important to pay attention to how much stereo you're using in the low end and get it right, get it perfect, so you just got the right amount. Because particularly if you're using, like, you know, stereo basses, which obviously, you know, I always do, all my presets and everything are in stereo, because I mean a completely mono bass would be really boring, you know. So I design everything in stereo, and then I clear out the unnecessary rumble in the stereo in the low end, you know. So the whole bass is still in stereo, but I just tighten up the low end and make that sort of mono with a good bit of EQing. And yeah, so you know, that low cutting, you know, that sort of yeah, the low cut slopes that I first do, they get me most of the way there, but occasionally I can get a little bit more clarity when I do a more precision side cut as well. All right, so with the mid side EQing, obviously not cutting the mids at all, so the mono power is still unaffected in the low end. That's still really nice and powerful, you know. But just a little side cut here and there, sometimes on a bass, can really clear out a bit of extra space in your mix down, so you get a bit more clarity particularly between your kick and your bass, and then you'll be able to push your mix down harder. So in this case, as I was working on this project and yeah, getting it ready for release, I noticed that this was definitely a good move, and it gave me like a couple of extra % of sort of headroom, so I could push the mix even harder, you know. So it's a great thing to check out. But most importantly, use your ears, and my main kind of tip really is pay attention to how much stereo you're using in your low end and try to get it perfect if you can, like just in the right spots. Okay, so that's my tip for today. Hope you guys enjoyed that. More from me very soon, but before I go, may I quickly remind you, if you guys ever want lessons with me, I've got one-on-one coaching available. Links for that are down below. Preset packs as always, current, vital, phase plant, loads of those up on my website. And if you want to support the channel, come along and join Patreon. We have a lovely Discord community in there as well. But even if you just want to shoot a couple of dollars or something, I appreciate everyone's support. A lot of people recently have joined on there. Also, if you guys want mixing and mastering work, that's available. Just email me at info@artifactmusic.com. Anyway, until next time, my G's, take care. Much love.